Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, hey everybody, big red letters, that's Alex, that's me, the Ramble, that's the program, and we're here until midnight tonight on the East Coast of the United States, coming your way, and we'll get to a citizens panel in just a little bit, but first we have to go over, and first we got to admit him, okay, and then let me see here. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay, and you do that like you were on a roller coaster.
Hands in the air.
Hands in the air. Right. Hello. That's Phil Meyer, ladies and gentlemen. We talk with him once a week because
It's better than talking to me 4 times a week.
Well, you know, we miss you. You know, on the show. I think some people do. I mean,
I thought that I caused too much angst for you, and I felt that the show would be better off without me.
Well, I mean, that's for you to determine, for me to determine, not you.
Oh,
you
know. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, this seems to be a good medium. Hey, today I was. There's a couple things in the news we can get to
just
talk
a
about.
few, yeah.
Just a couple. But today I had cigars with one of your fans, Paul Jung, and he writes a lot on the chat room. Really good guy, and Brian met him as well. Went to that comedy thing with Larry Brown.
What comedy thing?
That was when he made his recording.
Oh.
So Brian and I and Paul and one of his friends was at the recording.
But that was a long time ago, though.
Yeah, well, I'm just mentioning that, that's when he had met Brian. But
okay, but then when did you have cigars?
Today.
Today, with who?
With Paul.
With Paul, okay. You were confusing me. It sounded like you had them with Paul and Brian, and you were watching...
they met earlier. But Paul is one of your biggest fans. He's a real fan of the comedy scene and a good guy.
Yeah,
and,
he is.
So, but I just come off a 3-day juice fast.
Oh God!
I lost 6 pounds.
He lost 6 pounds. Spit in the fucking ocean.
Let
me not try to make you feel bad about it, because really, good for you. Bravo. Okay.
Well, my numbers, my diabetes numbers came down. Everything is good. Blood pressure down, and the juice fast is a really good way to do it. But 3 days was all I could do of just juice. And so today I had iceberg lettuce. I was, getting really daring. And
that's good. That's good. I find I can't lose weight. I'll tell you why. I started taking these pills for my neuropathy called
is that the gabapentin?
No, well, actually, it's a form of gabapentin. It's called keep forgetting the name.
Heroin. It's called heroin.
It's called heroin. Yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Where is it? Where? Oh hell! I can't find it now. I lost it. It was here somewhere. Hold on a second. Let me just go over here.
Yeah.
Here it is. Here's the bottle right there. It's pregabalin. I should remember that, because that's very much a Jerry Lewis word.
Yeah, but it also has something to do with
GabNet.
Gabnet.
Pregabalin.
Pregabalin. Well, Gabnet, Pregabalin.
Anyway, yeah. Let me put my earphones back on, otherwise I can't hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, it's pregabalin, and it has a tendency to put weight on you. Because it screws with your metabolism.
Well, let me try this. Pregabalin.
Pregabalin.
Yeah. Well, let's see what else. Oh, so this new health kick. Uh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I just we can do an
By the way,
opening.
I can clock your health kicks.
Yeah, how's that? Oh yeah, well,
Yeah, I mean, come on, you always go on them, and then all of a sudden you're not on them anymore.
well,
You got a Fitbit. Oh boy, you know what
just
that is?
me.
You know what that is? That's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
You put a Fitbit on, and you go, "Wow, I'm going to be fit, and I'm going to do it in quite a
A
bit."
bit.
You know, and
Yeah.
and of course, if you got an Apple Watch, you could do probably the same thing.
Well, yes, I could. It's just that I didn't want to be connected on the watch to the cell phone and all of that
You don't have
stuff.
to be connected to the cell phone.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
because this one for an extra $15 a month to the phone company. This phone I can just take out with me. I don't need the iPhone. I can make calls with it. I can go on the internet with it. Everything.
well,
So,
maybe I have a friend that lives in Detroit.
yeah.
He's in the radio business, and he has been walking 10,000 steps per day. He's a little OCD, and
I can't walk 20. I mean, I'm just so out of shape. It's ridiculous.
me too. Me too.
And the bottom of my feet are killing me because of the neuropathy. And I think about walking even like 5 blocks that way. I went the other day, I actually did 10, 15 blocks.
Wow.
But today I said, I'm going to go do it again today. And then I never got out of the house.
Yeah. Well, at least this way, I've always been told what can be measured can be managed, and what can be managed can be improved. So my cardiologist said that I should walk. And so if I could measure my walking, I could see what.
I mean, I could do. I was doing a lot of walking before when I was losing all that weight, but the weather was better, and there wasn't COVID lurking out there. I gotta say something.
Mask.
As much as I tell everybody wear a mask, really, when you want to go for a walk, it is no fun doing it with a mask.
Yeah,
To begin
even
with, there
with-
are two elements to this. Number one, it's harder for you to breathe.
Right.
Okay. And secondly, you build up snot. Really.
It's not what you think it is.
And eventually, the inside of your mask is like a bacteria breeding ground, for crying out loud.
You wash them every day?
I don't wash them. We got enough that I just, when they get a little funky, I just throw them away.
Well, I have about a dozen of those comfort masks, like the one that you bought from.
Yeah,
that
those are it doesn't do it for me. Doesn't
No?
do it for me. Yeah, they're comfort masks, but the question is whether they do anything.
Well, they're there to stop your spittle from hitting someone else. It's unless you wear an N95,
Yeah.
it's not going to stop anything from coming in.
Well, no, the regular ones, the surgical masks, will keep stuff from coming in. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the reason I replace them a lot is because I want it to be a tight fit on the side. And as you wear them over and over and over again, the fit gets loose. But we've got a problem again here in New York City, where it's not so good, and our governor can't do anything about it because, as somebody wrote the other day, and it's absolutely true, every time somebody accuses him of sexual improprieties, the age limit goes down 5 years.
Yeah, but
We're down to 50 years. Anybody over 50 can get it now.
Yeah. Can get the vaccine.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Well, yeah, if the vaccine's available. I mean, we still have a limited supply, you got to remember. We don't have this vast, unquenchable, this vast, inexhaustible supply out there. It's pretty bad.
AstraZeneca has
AstraZeneca.
applied. Yeah, and Zeneca, whatever. Anyway.
Well, don't count on AstraZeneca anytime soon.
No, because I thought they were being given clearance.
Yeah, and today it turned out a lot of the data they've been giving the CDC or the FDA or whoever has to prove this thing has been false data.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been outdated data is what it is.
I see. People are getting the Johnson and Johnson now.
Mhm.
Somebody told me today that they were getting the shot, and it's the one dose.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah. Well, that's fine too. They also say that there's somebody who has one company who claims they're coming out with a oral version.
Yeah.
So that would be good too.
Oh, so they'll give you oral when.
Yeah, give you
when they
oral.
vaccine you. Well,
Who doesn't like a little oral now and then?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, coming back from Paul's get together,
Mhm.
I got back here 10 minutes ago. It was really tight. The traffic on the Bay Bridge was bumper to bumper.
Why is that? I thought everything was loosened up quite a bit. They say even though some things have been relaxed, that there don't seem to be as many people on the roads as there were.
Well, I left at 5:45,
Mm-hmm.
and I got home at 7:20 something.
Wow.
And all the traffic was on that central freeway, bumper to bumper. I was thinking that I was going to have to do this from my cell phone. So anyway, yeah, health wise, I have to do something about the walking. When I went shooting last Sunday, they did.
By the way, just so people know, this guy does two kinds of shooting.
Oh, cameras and guns.
Yeah.
Well, this was guns.
Yeah.
And part of the training was weaponless defense. So they had a guy who does this karate stuff. Hey, I got a friend who does karate. You better look out.
Yeah.
So they put their hands up in the air, and I'm with these pads, and I had to hit them for about 30 seconds with a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm. And you were out of breath.
I was not only out of breath. My friend is also an EMT. He gave me oxygen. I went back to my car, and I'm sitting on the bumper, and
folks, you wonder why we have nothing but old listeners to this show.
Yeah.
Right? What do we complain about? This is the kind of crap we're complaining about.
Well, I was on the oxygen for 15 minutes, and then I felt great. But what that showed me was how out of shape I really am. If I can't go 30 seconds of high energy exertion, that's not good. So
it's not good. No, I mean, I don't get. The only thing that gets me out of breath is wearing the mask. If I take the mask off, I'm okay. But it's also the bottom of my feet are hurting because of the neuropathy. And I just have to get back to walking. I haven't walked in a year. Okay, I walked a couple of times a week to go to the store and back, but that was about it. And for the first 4 months or so, you remember, I didn't even leave the house.
What about that machine you hang your wet towels on?
Yeah. You mean my wife's cycle?
Right.
Yeah, I like watching her on it. I get a lot of exercise watching her do it. She says, I just did an hour and a half on this thing. I went, good for you.
You used to do that almost every day.
I mean, if I'm going to do a bike, I'm going to get a real one and go places and see things.
Yeah.
But, the only scenery that I see is on this screen in front of me.
Yeah, and the guy's yelling at you. You can do it.
No, I'm not. I don't go with any of those people. I find them too intimidating. I don't need somebody going, okay, let's pedal a little faster. Come on, and you're like, okay, no, fuck you.
Yeah, now push it. But,
I'll just get on, do 15 minutes, and get off. Okay.
You said that
unless that woman on that screen is naked and her tits are bobbing up and down. Oh, excuse me, am I being sexist? Her tits are bobbing up and down. I don't have any interest. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you might be able to get that. Just put in a different feed.
It could be. Peloton should have like a porn division, okay, where you could do a porn workout.
Your phone or your Bluetooth to channel, XXX.
They've got that whole thing, the Peloton, so locked in that they're the ones who control everything on it. Even though it is Android operated. But if they've got a bunch of things where there are some things, some hacks you can do to it and watch some things. But,
So
you know.
therefore, if you don't pay the monthly fee, something comes across the screen that says your account is suspended.
No, nothing comes across the screen. You kidding me? You go out, you buy this thing for $2,500, and then you got to pay like $30 a month to make it work.
Yeah.
You know. Otherwise, you've just got a brick sitting in the corner. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
let's see. What
So
else?
anyway, I want to ask you. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. How many? 18 people dead in the last, what, 6, 7 days, something like that?
Yeah, let's see. There was Colorado, and what was the other one?
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay, yeah. The Atlanta was the Chinese or the Oriental spas.
Oriental is not a term anymore, Phil. It's
No,
Asian.
no,
It's Asian.
1950 Asian.
It's Asian.
Ornamental. The ornamental.
Yeah.
So what's happened is, and it's that the government has failed us in addressing people with mental health issues.
Now, wait a minute. What? The current administration or the old one?
All administrations.
Okay. Because this guy's only been in office for 6 weeks. You can't blame a hell of a lot on
I'll
him.
blame Biden for other stuff down at the border. There's
It's not his fault down there either. I mean,
well,
I'll explain.
it's Irv Jackson's fault.
It's who? It's Irv Jackson's fault?
Yeah, because
You mean Jack Bishop's fault?
Jack Bishop, because
Yeah.
the town that is having all the problems is called Donna, Texas. Now,
Donna,
isn't his
Texas.
wife's name Donna?
Her name is Donna. It was named after her. It's her town. She owns it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so anyway, back to the guns for a minute.
First the guns. Yeah.
Okay. I am of the opinion that if you're a law-abiding citizen, you're not out there shooting
We're
the place
not
up.
worried about the law-abiding citizens. We're worried about the non-law-abiding citizens who have access to these guns.
It's the law-abiding citizens that are having their rights taken
Phil,
away.
assault weapons? Come on.
Well, hey, if you buy a gun and you don't have a gun safe, and you have to prove
No,
that
wait.
you
No. Back off. To begin with, you're dealing with for instance, this guy who's suspected. They say he pretty well was a mental case. He really was off his rocker. Well, you got to be off your rocker anyway to go in and kill a bunch of people.
But the FBI was on to this guy?
Okay, but all right. But the point that I'm making here is that I don't think we need these assault weapons. I don't think we need them at all. What do you need? You don't even need them.
I have one and I like it. But
what do you like about it? Do you like shooting at the wall there, or what do you do with the thing?
Well, sometimes I could shoot him.
Phil,
He's a target. He's a healable target.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the thing about what they call assault weapons is that they're no different than a lot of other guns on the market, except they look scary. Wait a
minute. Somehow a pistol looks a lot different than a rifle.
Yes, but these rifles you can,
and they have two entirely different reasons for existence.
Not necessarily. You see, an assault weapon is something that's fully automatic, that can shoot hundreds of rounds a minute. Whereas if you load it that way, but what these AR-15s and they're actually sporting rifles, and they are defensive rifles. You could use them for defense. And
defense against what, Phil?
Defense against the tyrannical government. How do you?
The tyrannical government. I see. Okay.
And also,
it turns out that the people who are causing an insurgence in this country don't happen to be who you thought they were.
No. What was the guy's name?
The insurrectionist.
Shot up the food store. What was his name?
I don't know his name, and it's
Ahmed something.
Yeah.
Born in Syria.
Yeah.
And he was a mental case. Now, what now they're saying that he was able to buy a gun.
Look, how do I know?
7
How do
days
I know?
ago.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Forget all that. You're going law-abiding. You're going sane. People have a right to the guns and whatever. Today's sane person is tomorrow's crazy person. Okay? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. So a guy buys it, and he's in good shape. His brain is okay. And a few years later, he suddenly goes wacko. Something happens. He short circuits in his brain, and he goes into a supermarket, and shoots up a bunch of people. I mean, to assume that a person who buys a gun is sane. Quite frankly, I think anybody who buys guns is insane. But that's just my opinion.
If they were smart, they would steal them. But, we're going to go round and round on this. But
no, we're not going to go round and round. I have something to tell you, and it's very simple. In the last 7 days, less than that actually, I don't know I forget when the Atlanta thing happened, there are 18 people dead as the result of the free sale of guns. All right? Now let me finish what I'm saying here. Apparently, you really law-abiding people, or you people out there, have been allowed to have guns, and you're not using them properly, and like any child who misuses a toy, I would take it away from him.
Well, that guy isn't going to have one anymore. And neither is the guy in Atlanta.
There's 2 out of the way, but unfortunately, they took 18 people with them.
Well, you know that there has been, in a year, there was 1 million defenses that saved lives of people that had guns, and they thwarted issues. And now you can look those statistics up. I believe it's in the DOJ. I'll get you the site, and you'll see that you cite this, which is a terrible thing. I mean, a
Phil,
terrible.
This isn't like some isolated incident. We have an incident like this at least once a month now.
What would have happened if some of those people in the market happened to have been armed?
Well, then maybe a lot more people would be dead because they wouldn't aim right.
Not necessarily. What if they were armed and they were able to stop the thing after the first or second person died? Look at the lives that are.
Wait a minute. You're going a woulda, shoulda, coulda. The fact is that the fact that they were armed doesn't mean they would necessarily have been able to save any lives. They might have been able to take the guy out eventually, but
right.
But not before he had killed the people he was killing. He had already killed about 6 of those 10 people before anybody knew what was happening.
Then 4 lives could have been saved.
Oh, geez, Phil.
Maybe
10 lives could have been saved if they didn't sell assault rifles in Colorado, which should have learned their lesson a long time ago because they had a thing called Columbine.
Colorado, if you think about it, they have had a number of mass shootings, Aurora, Columbine. But
before you go any further, I brought the wrong drink to use tonight because look.
Oh, I see the label and the cap. Yeah, you can see enough of it. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Invisible Man.
Yeah, the invisible drink.
Yeah.
If I do this, it like goes away practically. Yeah. Anyway,
nice. What happens to the water? Now the guy who shot Reagan.
Yeah.
Was John Hinckley?
No, wait.
Which one shot?
I think it was Hinckley. He was the one with Jodie Foster, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Which one shot John Lennon?
That was what was his
not John Hinckley?
No, his name was oh God. Somebody quickly on the chat room come up with a name. I'm bad at names. I always was bad at names. It's just now that I'm older, I'm even worse.
Zoom is good because you have the names in each box. But the thing about John Hinckley was that he traveled 1,600 miles from Colorado to shoot President Reagan. Mm-hmm. So Colorado has a long history of shooters. Mm-hmm. And maybe there's something in the water.
Or maybe it's the fact that guns are more easily available there than other places.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I don't know the Colorado law.
When are you going to admit that maybe certain kinds of guns should be held back from sale, And
Yeah,
the unstable people, today's sane person is tomorrow's unstable person.
Well, what guns should be held off? The ones that shoot bullets?
What if we just make guns illegal and make bullets illegal, but not the guns?
All right, so we'll go to Japan and they'll do 2,000 people with sarin gas.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Phil, you're looking at other case scenarios. It still does not. What you're doing is you're trying to make an argument for guns by saying other things could happen. And the fact is, for instance, you say maybe there was somebody in that supermarket that had a gun on him. Good possibility, and he didn't take a shot at anybody.
Didn't take action. It's
in the school down in Florida. You actually had an armed guard there, and he ran for the hills when everything was happening.
He didn't follow protocol. He set up a perimeter, and so he got fired. But the thing is. Yeah, I have a different opinion about firearms than you do. I believe that they save lives. They save a lot more lives than they take. But and I also believe that people should be highly trained. The next thing, since
I'm going to run over a little bit here, folks, because I got something we're discussing here. Yeah.
All right. We've got what's going on at the border now.
Well, maybe we don't have time for that, but.
Okay, well, it's just
you can't blame. You can't look. The thing at the border was always festering. I think that it wasn't happening for a while because Trump just wasn't letting anybody in. Anybody.
True,
okay.
But what about they're overpopulated by 800%. The facility is supposed to have 250 people. I think it was 4,000.
It's a terrible situation down there. And
but worse.
I think one of the ways that Biden is trying to handle is by prevailing on Mexico to not let people come over the border,
right.
And to take care of the problem on their end. And, we don't want to turn away people who, especially children, who we feel need to be helped.
What's happening is, and you should be upset.
Excuse us for our compassion.
Yeah, compassion. What you should be upset about is the fact that they won't let the news media in to photograph what's going on. And it was only one Democratic congressman from Texas that leaked some photos to show exactly.
I don't know. I haven't heard a good reasoning yet for why they aren't letting the press in. My only argument back would be to protect the anonymity of the kids. That would be one argument for it. Okay.
That's a weak one because
look, I think that Biden knows this is a problem. He's trying to solve it. He's only been in office 6 weeks. People saw that the coast was clear, and they made a run for the border. Right. And then we've closed the border again. We've closed it, but not before a lot of people came through. And the fact was that all those holes in the wall was where they were coming through.
Harris was asked, she was in Florida, I think, but she was asked, are you going to go to the border? And she said, no, not today.
Harris,
the vice president.
Oh, Kamala Harris.
She cackled and said, no, I'm not going today. If you think that people aren't taking it seriously and seeing the need for the compassion,
look.
Harris is certainly.
Look, this is certainly a bad situation, and I hope Biden solves it in the best way possible. Okay, we have a bunch of problems that have suddenly emerged. I think because certain people felt the coast was clear. Right. And they're going to have to find out that it isn't, that this is a president who's going to be very tough on this stuff.
The photos that Democratic congressman leaked, all of the children that you could see their face had those black lines across their eyes so that you couldn't.
I think that's the reason, one of the reasons they didn't want the press in there. They just wanted,
The press could have done that too, especially when you're dealing with juveniles.
Hey, listen. I got people who want to come on here.
Oh, what was the other thing you wanted to hold over for a second?
That was it. The thing on the border, because that we could go 20 minutes on that one too.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. Hey.
But did you get a check at all from the government?
No, not yet.
I didn't. You know.
I think that they lowered the threshold.
No, they didn't lower the threshold. It's 160,000 for a couple.
Well, I'm not married.
But it has to be all pre-tax money and whatever, and we're 180,000, so we're screwed. You know.
Yeah, my salary is high enough that with that and the Social Security, I don't think I'm going to get.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, listen, let's talk to you again next week, okay?
All right, enjoy, and I'll let you know how my Fitbit's doing.
Yeah, sure. Well, don't let it. You should wear it now and then. That would help.
Yeah, well, it just came. It was at the door when I came home.
Oh, okay. By the way, the things come really fast through Amazon. I ordered this keyboard because my old one broke on me, and I ordered it yesterday at 7 o'clock at night and got it today at 10 o'clock this morning. No. It's for the other. Okay. It's for the PC.
I got the Apple.
Oh, I got an Apple right here. See, so,
yeah. Didn't I give you an Apple keyboard?
I don't know. I don't know what you gave me and didn't give me.
Yeah.
I'm not appreciative of any of it. So
I know.
Anyway, hey, listen, I got to go because these people are going to be very mad at me if I don't.
All right. You enjoy. Have a great show. And nice talking to you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Meyer. Thank you, Phil. We appreciate you talking with us. We certainly want to, let me see here. Thank you for joining us on Tuesdays because it gives me a nice little time to talk with somebody. I like Phil. I don't agree with him, but I like Phil. He's a nice enough guy. Okay. Anyway, I think it's time for us to admit all these people who have been waiting. I have to, I guess, apologize to them. Let me see here. Here they come. Look at that. There they are. Okay, it looks like we're going here. Yep. Hello, Jeff. Hello, Alan. Hello, Brian. Hello, Charlie. Hello, Trucker Steve. Anything to say about what we were just talking about?
Yeah.
I lost 10 pounds.
Huh?
Yeah, talking about losing weight.
Guns? What were you saying about losing weight, Brian?
I lost 10 pounds.
Who lost 10 pounds? You did?
Me.
How'd you lose 10 pounds? You.
Oh no.
Okay.
One of those programs that you go on and they give you the meals, not meals, but they give you these fuelies that they call. They're just bars and shakes and all that stuff. So I said, what the heck? So I know a couple friends that lost a lot of weight on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried it and it's been working out really good. Only been on it less than a week. Well, tomorrow's a week now. So.
Well, I would like to lose some now, but my problem is, I say, I'm taking that pregabalin, and it affects your metabolism. So I haven't taken it for about 6 days now, but I don't feel that I'm losing any real weight, The way I'm going to lose weight is if I get out and go walking a lot more.
Yeah, my problem is I just snack on foods all day.
Oh, really?
So this gives me something. They want you to eat one of these things six of these or one of these things 6 times a day.
Yeah.
The first half hour or the first hour you're up one of them already, and that's perfect because I drive to work and then set my alarm for every 2.5 hours and eat one, and it's been going pretty good. At the end, I have something that I'll mix vegetables with, and it's working out really good. So.
Yeah. I had bad food tonight. I had soup dumplings. I love soup dumplings.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That was my cheat from Saturday.
Actually, they're not that full of carbohydrates. I think in the 6 that I buy, there's maybe 20, 25 carbohydrates, which isn't bad. Okay. But anyway, hello, Robert.
Alex, how are you?
Love your signage, filibuster. Yeah. I'm sure you disagree with him, as do I.
Yes.
And people should excuse me if I drink my drink tonight and it's disappearing into the
There's
background.
no drink in there, Alex.
There's no drink in there. I'm just drinking
Very
air.
low calorie.
Really low cal.
Huh?
Really low cal.
Well, I forgot. I never should bring in the green one. I have an orange one and I have a red one, and they would do fine. And I figured this might do okay, but it is kind of almost the same green as the green screen. So, so it disappears. So, when I drink and what?
Made by Kirkland says right on the label.
Yeah, it is Kirkland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turn your mic down just a little bit, Alan.
Again, okay.
Ah,
I lost 120 pounds when I broke up with my girlfriend.
yeah, I know.
Boom.
Bada bum bum.
My joke
I
was
followed that whole saga. I followed the whole saga.
I lost.
That's when I was listening tonight. You moved to Arizona. I called the show again, and then you're there for a little while, and then you moved back. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Better.
and you moved there for a girlfriend, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you got rid of 120 pounds of ugly fat. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't regret
Be
the
nice.
move at all.
That's the joke. Actually, I lost 120
okay.
pounds of ugly
Yeah.
fat. I divorced my wife. But boom. You know.
He wasn't ugly fat though.
Yeah. See, be nice. I agree, Charlie. I haven't seen her back.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so I am. I don't know. I'm just exhausted again lately. I don't know what it is, but we got. Tell us, Charlie, what's the count and the amount right now?
Sign, Robert. Come on.
I'm coming. Hold
Jeez,
on.
you're
hold
lagging.
on.
Oh
Hey.
man, this is very disappointing.
Here we go.
Okay.
Dr. Doom.
543,741 dead Americans so far. We're almost to 30 million COVID cases.
Oh, jeez.
How many yesterday died? How many yesterday?
Oh, just 869. First time in a long time it's under 1,000.
Wow, that's
Yeah, but I think that's going to change.
Yeah, because the number of cases is going up, and there's always a lag.
Yeah, I mean, you've got your cases, then you've got your cases that get into ICUs, then you've got your cases in those ICUs are intubated, and then 80% of the people who are intubated die. And that's all takes place over a period of time. So, you may see the numbers in hospitalizations go down, and that's fine, but that doesn't mean that you haven't got a backlog of people waiting to, well, shall we say, die. So it's not pretty. And then we got the whole thing going on down in Florida. Have you seen that mess down there?
boom, 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 boom. If this was really spreading with the younger groups, I think we'd have no younger generation left.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, it does spread to the younger people. They do die of it.
Sure, but not as bad as the elderly.
Not as bad as
the
that.
immune system.
Not as badly, but I guess when I was younger, I was selfish too. I don't know. But if I knew that my actions could kill my grandparents, I think I'd be very careful about what I did. Okay? That I'm responsible for other people as well in this world. And these kids don't seem to think they have any responsibility to their parents or anybody else. So they go down to Florida, they all infect each other. Some of them come back with it. They don't get it badly, but then they pass it on to their parents, their grandparents, and everybody else who they hug when they come home. They don't understand that's the nature of this whole thing. Just because you can't get it doesn't mean that you can't give it to somebody else. But were you like that when you were a kid, Robert? Were you selfish and self-absorbed? No. Neither was I.
No. I lived in a home with parents and grandparents, and I was just heavily respectful of my grandparents. I love them both dearly.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, we noticed Trucker Steve is not in the truck tonight. Trucker Steve is at home, I assume, right, Trucker Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how long are you home for this time?
Till Friday.
Till Friday and is back on the road again. Yeah. How do you like that life, don't you?
Yeah.
You getting tired of it?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And how does your wife feel about it?
It's a job.
It's a
Has to
job.
pay the bills.
Yeah, pays the bills. Well, at least during this whole COVID thing, you're working, and that's pretty good.
Yeah,
You know, is business up or business down?
it's normal.
Normal. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And how's everything up in Connecticut, Jeff?
Well, it's a beautiful day. And I actually got on my bicycle and did a little bike around.
Mm-hmm.
Realize the bike needs a little oil and this and that to get it running perfect. That's been the day.
I find that when I get on the Peloton here, I need a little oil. So it's, you know.
I guess
I'm
so.
old, get it?
Yeah,
got
we got it. We got it.
Yeah.
We all got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, but I've just been exhausted. I don't know why. Today I'm exhausted again. And there's no reason for it, you know.
That reminds me of the old Groucho Marx bit. Remember, he goes into a drugstore and he asks a young lady for talcum powder, and she goes sashaying away, swinging her hips seductively. And Groucho says, "If I could walk that way, I wouldn't need talcum powder."
Well, or it's the old joke about the sexy woman who's in a store, and he says, "Can you tell me where I can find blah blah blah?" And the woman says, "Walk this way." He says, "If I could walk that way." Da da da. That's the other version of the same
That's the
joke.
other version.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know why I'm tired again. I for a while I was getting over my tiredness. I don't know why, and then all of a sudden it's back again. So. Of course, we have the pollen count is now up, and so I take an allergy pill that says non-drowsy. You ever take a non-drowsy medication?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. How drowsy do you get with a non-drowsy medication?
Somewhat, sometimes. It
Some
varies from person to person.
somewhat, a lot drowsy. So anyway, so I have that in me too. So. If I fall asleep while we're doing the show, it's just because I find it as boring as you do. So anyway, you know, I was talking with Phil about and I can't even fight him.
So based on what I learned in the filibuster, guns
the Tuesday
save
filibuster,
more people than they take
Yes,
away.
you're right.
So based on that logic,
right?
Tomorrow I'm calling Kim Jong-un and I'm going to buy a nuclear weapon. This way I can save a whole bunch of people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That cop had a gun.
Yeah. What good did it do him?
Yeah, and you know he's being lionized today for having done really his job, which he did well. You know, he did what he had to do, and it was very sad that you know he was the only one that ran in there. That he was the only cop available. He might be alive now if there were more.
Might be alive if the guy hadn't had an AR-15 too.
But you know the thing they keep making a big deal about, and I think I don't know. I get bothered by it sometimes when they say this. Do you know how many kids he had?
7.
7 kids. Now,
21 years
on one
old.
hand, I feel very sorry for that family because there are 7 kids without a father now. But there didn't have to be 7 kids without a father if he'd use a condom a little more often. You know? I mean, that part bothers me, is that he had 7 kids. You know, I mean, I think that...
Well, the part that bothers me is he believes in Jesus Christ, so there you go.
Oh, okay. Did he really?
His father put out a statement.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the last part of the statement.
Hey, well, listen, you know something? I got to tell you, I'm very, you know, I'm a very anti-religion, and I'm very much an atheist or agnostic, or I think an atheist. And I, you know, I though feel somewhat jealous for those people who believe in God, because I have a great fear of death. They don't, because they feel they're going to a better place. And I'm feeling I'm going to an empty hole in the ground, that I'm going to fill and be eaten by worms. So
Maggots.
Unless maybe Marjorie wants to cremate me. She already has plans for me now. What do I
There's
have?
too much wasted land in New York with coffins in it.
Well, that's true. That's true. And I agree with you on that one. But I don't know.
Even though it's against the religion, I'm okay with being cremated.
Is it against the Jewish religion?
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, and you can't be embalmed either. That's why they bury Jews so quickly.
So they can get away from the smell? Is that the reason?
Every Christian I know is afraid of death.
Really?
Actually, the Jews bury their dead within 2 days.
Yeah. They don't need
But
to
I heard the
embalm
reason is that they felt the faster you buried the person, the faster the family could get back to a certain amount of normalcy. That as long as that body is around, you're still in the grieving process. The healing starts happening once the hole is filled. Okay? But the Islamics bury theirs within 24 hours. Okay? So they're much quicker than we are. Now, I had a woman who was a producer for me whose grandmother died in San Francisco when there was a cemetery workers strike. And it went on for 4 weeks. And her grandmother laid there in cold storage for 4 weeks. That's a problem.
the past year, a lot of people were laying in cold storage for weeks because the mortuaries can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
If Marjorie does cremate you, I think the way to go is that each one of us here gets to keep your ashes for, say, a couple of days, a little like the Stanley Cup, We could each have your ashes and say, see this guy? He used to be a big shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You like that?
Oh yeah, put that down, Charlie.
That on the list. Pam has a crazy idea, like when she's gonna die.
Yeah.
She wants to go to Maine because the family has a little island thing, and they're gonna throw her in the water.
You mean the whole body?
Yeah, in the ocean. Goodbye, Pam.
Donating my body to science.
Can you do that? I mean, are you allowed to do that?
Probably not, but out in Maine, who the hell's gonna stop her?
The crabs will eat her.
Yeah, lobsters.
Some fish, some lobster
Yeah,
fishermen are going to be in
crabs
for
are
a big
horrible.
surprise. Well, we got our
Drowned
lobsters and
Yeah,
this.
maybe we'll put a weight on her so she goes.
You got this all worked out, have you, Jeff?
You're gonna wait till she's dead, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Just to make
But
sure.
this is not my strategy.
Put a mirror up to her face
This is
just
not
to
my
make
way
sure.
to come up with.
Jeff,
Yeah.
you better have her write this down and sign it, because if they see you dumping a body off a boat, you're gone.
And Jeff, make sure she leaves you with the sound on your computer before she goes.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Here comes Kevin.
Jeff's gonna be locked up. He stole a car and he dumped his wife off the side of the boat.
Yeah. There's Kevin. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
Hey, Alex. How you
Yeah.
doing? How's everybody
So
doing?
the weighting
good.
of the body only works for a short time.
What? What?
Weighting of the body, like tie a chain and hang a weight from the body,
Mhm.
only works for a short time.
What?
Unfortunately, in the water, the body decomposes, and it ends up ballooning, and it floats.
There was a former the former what do you call it? The coroner,
Take 'em
the
100
city
miles
of New York, Doctor.
You'll never see
He
him
was the
again.
guy that testified in the OJ trial. I'm trying to remember his name now.
What happened to Al Capone?
What?
Wasn't Al Capone like under the foundation of one of the bridges out there?
No, not Al Capone.
Oh,
Capone
which-
died in Alcatraz.
Oh, well then, which one of the?
You're thinking about Hoffa.
Hoffa.
That's what I'm thinking.
I heard he was the end zone in some football field.
Yeah.
Giants.
MetLife.
Giants.
Yeah.
New York Giants.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get my bad guys mixed up.
Yeah, well, it's an easy thing to do. But the thing I'm thinking of is that if you wait, so you can't weight the body down because it's going to start floating. Oh, so I had this guy I knew who was the coroner of the city of New York. He was the guy who testified in the OJ trial. I'm trying to remember his name now. He did a bunch of shows on HBO about, the dead talk, and how he can tell how somebody died and so on and so forth. His name started with a B, I think, but I can't remember right now. See, my mind.
He's a good friend, obviously.
No, I had lunch with him, with Al Goldstein, oddly enough. Al Goldstein would hold these lunches, and he came there. And he and I got to talking, and he talked about, what we call April, the coroner's office? And I said, no. He says, Floaters Month. Because what happens is it gets warm enough in April that all the people who were dropped in the East River during the winter, who sunk to the bottom because they froze, and when they were all frozen, they sunk to the bottom. But then when the water warms up, the bodies all come floating to the top and they find them. So they call it Floaters Month.
So there was a famous case in the Bay Area 10 years ago. Scott Peterson, he's in prison for it.
Yeah.
Killed his wife and the unborn baby.
Yep.
Took him out. And if you want details, contact Phil, because he's a forensic diver. And
Phil's a forensic diver?
Absolutely. Certified. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
How many forensics does he come up with?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What somebody said something. Robert, what'd you say?
No, I was just kidding. I said, how many forensics does he come up with?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He goes diving for forensics. Yeah. That's sarcasm. Yeah. Okay.
This guy that testified in the OJ trial has this long Indian name.
No. That's not
That's
the guy.
what it says here.
No. Huh?
Guy's
Baden.
Michael
Baden. Michael Baden.
Michael Baden.
Michael
Yeah.
Baden. Yeah.
He's a Jew.
Yeah. And he was the one that told me about Floaters Month.
He was the coroner to the rich and famous.
After he was no longer the coroner of New York, he started doing independent coroner stuff.
The Hollywood coroner was Yamaguchi.
Yamaguchi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Tom Yamaguchi. No, not Tom Yamaguchi. Was it Yamaguchi or was it?
Something like that. I think that's.
I think it was another name. I don't think it was Yamaguchi. I think
Annie Sprinkle, I think.
Annie Sprinkle. Yeah. Who, as we all know, is dead, according to John Larkin.
Got her mixed up with Margot St. James.
Oh, Margot. Yeah, I saw Margot a couple of years ago. She's dead now, too, huh?
Margot Kidder?
Are you sure she's the one that's dead?
Yeah.
Okay, because she was very close to Annie Sprinkle.
Yeah. That's why I got him confused.
Nobody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Be nice to Larkin. He's the only one that dresses up for the show.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Well, I'm all dressed. Well, I got my pajamas on. These aren't pajamas really so much as what I wear all the time at home. Marjorie, in fact, goes to work twice a week now, and she's wearing jeans to work. And she says, do you know I've not worn any of my dresses in a year? Because you lose all desire for fashion. We've learned a lot during this whole thing, It's really made us take a different perspective of life.
So to clarify things,
Yeah.
Phil sent me a text. He was in the Bay when the baby, Peterson's baby, was found, and he had to go into the marsh to get a GPS location
Oh, okay.
where the baby was found.
All right, but
he was scuba diving.
he was scuba diving, but
certified
it was
diver.
just that he was scuba diving like he normally scuba dives, right?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know anything about scuba diving. People
Yeah.
can go underwater. They can breathe underwater. That's all
Yeah.
I know.
Well, I know that Robert would like him to breathe underwater, but without the scuba gear.
Oh.
Oh. Oh.
I used to do scuba.
Sarcasm. Sarcasm. Oh boy. It's 50% truth.
That's right.
Are you?
He's trying to be human.
Oh, I'm going to make up some signs here. Then I can
You
compete.
said that last week.
You keep threatening this.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't have the time or the inclination. Humor. Okay. Well, I'll just make one that just says, fuck y'all. You know, anyway. But, you know, we were talking about just the whole thing with the guns. And, I mean, you're pro-gun, right, Alan?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you agree with what Phil said?
Yes.
In which he stated that he felt that that
Properly trained, not properly trained citizens should be able to own guns.
yeah, but you're
yes.
saying properly trained. You're not taking into account. We're not talking about the people who would want to be properly trained. They're not going to walk into a supermarket and kill 10 people. What we're talking about is availability of guns. Am I right,
You asked
Robert?
me-
This is what we're
Lee
talking
Harvey
about.
Oswald was properly trained, as I recall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He was a marksman in the Marines. And so what do we do with that?
Who's that?
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Oh, really? Oh, well,
Give
there
him
you
an
go.
extra star.
He
You
was
know.
properly trained. He was a
Yeah, he
Marine.
was.
Yeah, we also have a lot of people that come back who have PTSD, who come back and do these kind of actions, and they're trained
Absolutely.
killers. We trained them how to kill. You know, so I mean, when you say, "Oh, well, you know, we got to train people how to use them properly," well, that's fine. You can do that all you want to. Those are not the people that are going to get the guns and go into a supermarket and shoot people. What we want to do is make the availability of some of these. If this guy had only had a pistol, he probably would not have killed 10 people. He wouldn't have done it fast enough.
How far along would I get if I made the argument that opioids weren't the problem, that proper training on the use of opioids were the problem? I would get thrown out on my ass, and I would be told, you're out of your mind. It isn't a matter of the proper use. It's a matter of that some people shouldn't ought to be with a firearm.
Yeah.
Listen,
I agree.
can get a firearm in Georgia as quick as that, but you can't vote.
You see, I mean,
There's something wrong with that.
I know that Alan, for instance, is a responsible gun user. I'm not worried about him right now. But what's to say he doesn't become unhinged at some point? Listen, I could become unhinged tomorrow at some point. Now, I'm not being sarcastic.
No, I don't
But,
see
you
it.
know, it can happen. All of a sudden,
It could happen with anybody.
happen with anybody. And now he has the availability of how many weapons do you have in your house right now, Alan?
A couple.
Just a couple.
Yeah, I think I own 4 firearms.
Oh, really? Well, that's 4 more than I have. 4 more than Jeff has.
About 1/10 of what Phil has.
Yeah, really. That's what I was going to say.
I don't think. Do you have any, Robert? Do you have any?
I've never touched a firearm.
Yeah, I won't even let him near me.
You weren't in
They
the
scare
military,
me.
Robert?
No, I was not.
Oh, okay.
I was in the military. I was forced to shoot a rifle. I became they rated me as a marksman. Said I was very good and I was terrific, and that's the last time I ever touched a gun. You know, and that was only because I had to. You know, but I just feel that, you know, you say, well, responsible people. You know, you got to make sure responsible people. You can't guarantee that. And what the hell do we need assault weapons sitting out there for?
Here was the other part of the filibuster that just drove me over the edge. Well, the nation has a problem with mental illness, and the government has to do a better job with mental illness. All right, so I was in the education field for a time. What do you expect me to do about it? What do you expect the government to do about it? Should we give mental health checks to 350 million Americans and then again next week because circumstances may have changed? How exactly do we identify these people? Second of all, he was in law enforcement. The subject of crimes of passion have never crossed his desk or his mind at any point. You know, has he not heard the term that it can make someone like me who's never touched a gun, perhaps at a certain point, you know, lose my marbles? And if I have this sign or I have a gun, which is more likely to cause a problem? You know, it again, if my son, when he was 3, hit a kid across the street with a rock, I wouldn't blame the rock. I'd blame my son, but I would make sure I took away the rock. You know, it's just common sense.
Well, what I've said is I think by now we should realize that we in this country are not capable of having the kind of freedom in gun laws that we believe we have the right to have. I don't think when the Constitution was written, our founding fathers, if they had known that assault rifles existed back then, they might have made an exception to that amendment. Okay? It was just that that amendment was made because, hey, you know, the British government might come back and try and take over the country, and you've got to have the right to be able to bear arms so that you can go and fight them. Because you're a militia. You're not an army. You're nothing else. You're a militia, and we call out the militia, and everybody goes out and defends the country from the British. All right, that makes sense. But that was 300. How many fucking years ago? About 300 years ago.
Going on.
Going on. Yeah.
250 plus.
Huh? 250 plus years ago. They were written for another time. And they did not include these kinds of weapons. They were not referring to this kind of weapon. They were referring to flintlocks, for crying out loud, which you had to jam down a thing and put the ball in there and put the flint in, and then you could fire one shot, and then you had to do it again. They didn't know from guns which, you know, could shoot off 100 rounds in 2 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
And that being the case, do we really apply that Second Amendment to these kinds of weapons? You know, I'm all for letting people have flintlocks. You know,
we can't have this discussion in America, not legitimately, until we understand the following: Republicans aren't in favor of the Second Amendment. If you think so, you're a fool. Republicans are in favor of money from the NRA and from gun manufacturers. If you don't get to the heart of that, you won't understand the problem, because the vast majority of the American people want some measure of gun control, be it background checks, be it reducing the number of bullets that a weapon can hold. I don't even know the nomenclature. Assault rifles, which you don't use to go out and shoot a fucking deer. You know, like, Americans, for the most part, are in favor of these kind of restrictions. Not a soul has ever come forward to say, take away all guns. But Ted Cruz is on the air today saying that this is an attempt to disarm all Americans. That's the boogeyman that gun holders always latch on to and say, see. Of course, in 250 years of our history, that's never happened. Not once. Not once.
You know, on our Monday show, we have a guy in Canada who calls the show. I wish he were calling right now, because in Canada he could explain what. Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Trucker Steve.
Trucker Steve is from Canada.
You're in Canada.
Trucker Steve, why is it per capita you have as many guns there as we have here, with a minimal amount of gun crime and murders and deaths?
I don't know, probably because there's less people.
No, but this is per capita. This is per capita. You know, you have the same amount of guns per capita. In fact, you may have more per capita than we have here, although I doubt it. Because, I mean, it's at least one gun for every human being in America. I think maybe 2.
I think it's more.
Yeah.
More.
I mean, I just don't understand. Well, I understand America is gun nutty. That's the problem, and they look upon it as the solution to everything. I mean, I saw a thing where there was an MMA, it was an MMA or mixed martial arts thing going on down in Miami. And there was a break, and some people got into a fight, and a guy pulled out a gun and shot it straight up in the air to try and stop everybody from fighting. Well, he didn't know there couldn't be somebody upstairs, right? But all of a sudden, a gun was pulled out. I mean, out of nowhere. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the kind of permeation of weapons into this culture. And we cherish this more than we cherish the freedom of speech in this country, or the freedom to assemble, or any of those things. With you fight those things, try and make laws about them. People won't argue as much as the people who are yelling, "I don't take my guns away from me." Come on, grow up. You don't need a gun.
How about the theory that without the Second Amendment, the First Amendment wouldn't exist?
Stop.
That's bullshit.
Stop.
It's bullshit.
Oh, stop. Listen, my graduate work was in American government and the Constitution. And for every Second Amendment article you can find, I can find 3 from noted scholars who claim that the Second Amendment has been misinterpreted from the very beginning. That the idea was they were afraid that the government, the newly formed government of America, would turn into much like they faced with King George III and take away all individual rights. Therefore, the Second Amendment, they claim, and I subscribe to, was put in so that people could take arms against a tyrannical government. Well, the only tyranny I've seen out of government in the past however many years was Trump's people storming the Capitol.
Yeah.
Having weapons wouldn't have made a bit of difference. It's all bullshit. It's based on bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, there are other countries that have freedom of speech, freedom of the press, all the freedoms that we have, England being one of them. And they don't allow guns, and they have never made a big deal. They're as free as any other country. We have the idea that so therefore the Second Amendment does not protect the First Amendment. I don't think, in any way, shape, or form. You might argue that's how you enforce it. Well, no.
When? Where? Give me an example.
When did we need it? When did we need guns to protect our freedom of speech?
The theory is.
Yeah.
Let's take the other approach. The other person's approach is, I need a gun because you may have a gun and you may want to shoot me, and therefore I want to have a gun that is even better than you, so I could shoot you twice before you even shoot me once.
And where does it stop?
Doesn't
now I
stop.
need a gun that can shoot you 3 times before you can shoot me twice.
That's why people,
I agree with you, Jeff.
Took about 30 years ago. These kind of guns that we're talking about today didn't exist.
I agree.
Officially.
My question would be, and this is, I think it's an important question, and that is, if we're going to talk in terms of having the right to bear arms, okay, where does that stop? I mean, how do you infringe on my right to bear arms and you don't let me own a nuclear weapon?
A bazooka.
A bazooka.
Yeah.
Any of those things.
I want a tank.
Well, California versus Texas. Texas is obviously a lot more liberal when it comes to guns. You made a point, somebody made a point in Georgia and Texas. You can walk into a gun store, put your driver's license on the counter and your credit card, and leave with a fully automatic type machine gun and ammo and everything, and go on a killing spree.
Yeah.
California, you can't do that. First of all, machine guns are illegal unless you have a special permit, military, police, that type of thing. And
so how do we, Alan, how do we go from saying it's not okay to have a machine gun, but it's okay to have an assault weapon.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? They're just
Trigger pull.
massive repeating.
Trigger pull is
Yeah.
the difference. Machine gun, you pull the trigger once and it empties the magazine if you keep it held. Trigger pull is, for every trigger pull you get a shot, and until the magazine's empty if need be or not. So I
Can't you make those so they repeat? Can't you Jimmy rig them so they repeat?
I guess it's not.
Oh, okay. So once you've got the assault weapon, you have the ability to do that. Kevin, you don't own a weapon, do you, or did you say you owned one?
No, I don't have one.
Turn your mic up a little bit.
No, I don't have one. No.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, now, what's your feeling on this whole subject?
Assault weapons aren't needed, but for hunting and that sort of thing, I don't see what the problem is. But it's a long, long, long debate that we've had over the years, and it's not going to go away.
Well, the thing is that I feel is that the ability to have a gun, if you live out in the woods where there are varmints and so on, it could be argued that you need at least a rifle or something like that, because bears and so on that might come and attack you. You need the ability to
Mountain
defend
lions.
yourself. Huh? Mountain
Mountain
lions.
lions.
Yeah. But how many, I live in New York City, so I don't need one of these. I mean, the last time I had to put up with a bear, it was a big iron one down at Wall Street,
He was a mean son of a bitch.
He was a mean son of a bitch, is right. But, I mean, I just, it's like you're saying, Kevin.
I'm not a hunter. I'm not for fully automatic weapons. I am for background checks.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I do agree. I do agree that people who live up in the mountains, out in the woods, live in areas with varmints and so on, need it as a tool, okay, and as a matter of safety against animals, certain animals. You take a bear, he can wipe you out pretty goddamn fast, know. Yeah. So you need that kind of protection out in the woods, but I don't see that you need it in. Where was it? Aurora, Colorado. Where did this thing happen? Boulder, Colorado.
Boulder.
Yeah. I mean, why? And yes.
Well, most of these people that have the guns, in the cities are expecting something to happen, and that's why they have them.
Yeah.
They're expecting, they're building militias, and they're expecting something to happen, like an insurrection or. They're planning their militias that something's going to happen, and they're going to be ready for it. That's why they have.
Well, don't we call that a mob?
We call that a mob. We call it a militia. We call it a gang.
A gang, yeah. Yes, Jeff had his hand up, and then Kevin.
I was going to say, as far as a bear goes, we see one pretty much at a certain part every year. When they wake up, they sleep and then they wake up and they're very hungry. And if you got any kind of flowers or anything, they're going to take your flowers.
Yeah, they're also going to go take your garbage too. Those guys are great.
Yeah.
Those guys are great at rifling through garbage.
Kill them.
Huh?
You don't have to kill them.
No, but I'm saying that in certain areas of the country, there are very dangerous bears. As an example, or mountain lions, or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
And that I can see having a gun in that atmosphere as a protection against varmints. Okay, putting it the best way possible. But in my whole life, I've got to tell you, I've never had my apartment robbed. I've never been attacked by anybody. My life has never been in danger from another human being, except for the time when that guy held a gun at my head for an hour in my face when I was a kid.
What are friends for?
What are friends for? Exactly. So I can't say that I've ever had a need for one. And if I did have a need for one, I will just get on my cell phone and call the cops.
Right.
They carry the gun for me. They carry the gun for me.
There you go.
and they're supposed to be responsible, although there's some question at that, whether every like you can't guarantee that every cop on the force is all put together just right so that he can wield a gun.
Same.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
And as hard as police departments try to make sure these people don't get on the force, they still squeak through.
To me, it's sane is one thing. I think you'll find, and I think everybody probably agree here, that you find a lot more police officers in this country that are racist, and not a matter. Now, I'm not saying that a cop. I'm saying that if a racist cop's out there and he has the choice between shooting a black man or a white man, he's going to take the black man. But I think most police officers, probably 99% of them, are good, honest people.
Let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you this. I have argued for the longest time to bring back the beat cop. And the reason I say that is that the trouble with police is they've gotten to a point where all they do is they drive around that police car all day.
Go from call to call. Yep.
Yeah, and every time they get out of that car, it is because there's some kind of problem. Okay? So they get an attitude of the world out there and the world inside the police car. And then they become buddies with each other. Mm-hmm. And in the old days, you used to have a cop. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze here any second. Let me just try to keep myself from sneezing. It's the allergies. When I was a kid, there was a beat cop. Okay?
But then they developed cars.
Wait a minute. The beat cop became friends with the neighbors. He most of the time lived in that neighborhood. And he all the people, like I knew the cop on my beat when I was a little kid, hi, officer so-and-so, and he was always there every day walking the beat. And so he had contact every day with the people out there. So he didn't think that every time he went in somewhere, it was a bad situation. Now they get the idea that the world out there is ugly and the world inside the cop car is the only sane thing. And they get this bad perception about the rest of the world. And I think that's why we have trouble with cops. Put them back on the beat. Put them out on the street talking to the neighbors and being a part of that neighborhood. I think you would change a lot of it. I would change a lot of that police.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
And it only takes tax money to hire more police officers to get them out of the car.
Or we take the cars away and put them out.
Or changing policies.
You can take the cops
in cities where you can do it.
You can take the cops that already exist and let them walk the beat. I mean, I think they've got to have the beat cops have to have a better attitude. Yes, Robert.
I think John was ahead of me, actually.
John?
Yeah. Here in the Tenderloin, they do that. They have the cops walking around, but they're just overwhelmed. There's just so many homeless and drug addicts and, riffraff on the street. They'll walk down one block and you'll see them all walk around the corner and go to the next block. It's just,
Yeah.
There's another phenomenon which I can speak to in education. Perhaps, Alan, you feel the same way in police work, where things get top heavy. The reason is that teachers, after a time, don't want to be in the classroom, wiping snotty noses anymore. They want some level of advancement. Okay. And the advancement turn into supervisory kinds of, in the case of police, maybe plain clothes activity, and so on and so forth, because it's not really the best job of all to be down in the trenches, either walking the beat in your case, or in my case, being in a self-contained second grade, with kids that have poor language skills because they're from all over the world and so forth. So what happens is there's sort of like a top heaviness to a lot of school districts where there are far more supervisors than there, like there's a lot of guys watching the guy dig the hole, kind of thing.
Yep.
And so as a result, it pulls people away from being in the classroom or walking the beat or, going chasing the fire down the block or whatever.
Kind of the Peter principle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, let me just ask.
Happened to me.
Let me ask Alan this. Alan, when you were a policeman, you were a cop. Did you work out of a car or did you walk the beat?
Well, in the city I am, they don't have walking beats. it's a big city and they have 150 cops, and so car, and I worked detective work for a while too.
But would you agree with my philosophy that if they were out on the street, they would have a better attitude about the public they serve?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they have a better idea what's going on in the neighborhood. You know, although a cop that works a certain beat. I don't know about New York, but here in Fremont, it's not, 7 million people in their beat or something like that. So a cop in this area patrols a certain area, and if an unusual car is around somebody's house or something, they usually know it.
Anybody here have something they want to say on this topic that we haven't touched on at all? Yes, Brian.
10 minutes ago. So,
no,
what you were talking about before, bump stops. Those are the ones that can make the automatic or the single shot more automatic. But that's what they used. The guy used in the Vegas,
in Las Vegas.
When he was up, when he was up in the hotel, when they found his stuff, he had a bunch of bump stops, so they're all illegal. Yeah. And then the animal stuff, the bears and stuff. Charlie, when we get out of COVID, he's going to be looking for some cougars.
You know what I should do? I should make available. I think what I can do is I can make available. I'm going to go look later. A thing so that you can actually. It puts in the corner. It puts in the corner a raised hand, so I can see when you want to talk. Because sometimes I don't see it. Because I'm sitting here doing everything else, and then somebody raises their hand, and I don't notice it. And so.
The guy's just giving you a hard time.
No,
I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, please don't.
Not to change the subject, but did you guys hear what the latest, the Kraken lawyer, what she's saying now? The Trump's Kraken lawyer, the one that was saying all that bullshit about and she's being sued now by Dominion. Yeah. So her defense, I don't know if you've heard this, is that nobody could have actually believed what I was saying.
Yeah. You can't make this shit up.
The fucking gall.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
Unbelievable.
That's so stupid. There's a chance there's been talk that they're thinking of indicting Trump on insurrection charges. Yeah, I mean, there is that possibility.
I don't see why he's not in jail already. Fuck, it was obvious.
Well, the rich never go to jail. Let's put it that way. I remember I was watching this new Justice League film, which is terrible, and at one point they look over at Bruce Wayne as Batman and says, "What's your superpower?" He says, "I'm rich." And it's true. Your superpower can be that you're rich.
Wealthy people in this country can afford better quality lawyers than public defenders.
Exactly.
And that usually, if you stand a chance of staying out of jail, that's your best chance.
Hey, Jeff, great having you here tonight. Same thing with you, Alan.
Thanks. Supposed to give us an extra 5 minutes that you gave Phil.
Well, then I have to take 5 minutes away from Jack, and Jack will have to take it away from dead air. Trucker Steve, thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you being here. Didn't get to your questions tonight, but I know you have them. Yes, filibuster.
I like that. That's cute.
Yes,
that's cute.
And let me see here. John Larkin, and of course Kevin. Always love seeing you here because you make it just right. Anyway, everybody, give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye back at you. Okay, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizen panel for tonight. Jack Bishop is on next, and he'll be creating a whole new citizen panel. You'll be doing it on Skype, and the number to call is GabNet Live. Let me see here. Tomorrow night we got a sports show. I can't remember. Does it go on now? It depends on when he decides to play it. It goes on at either 8:30 or 9 o'clock, but you can also listen to it as it goes around and around, or go to our on-demand line to see it. It's a good little sports show, and I know nothing about sports, but it sounds fine to me. Anyway, and then I'll be back again tomorrow night, 10:30, same time, same station in life, and in the meantime, as always, if you see her, Tell her I love her, okay? And by the way, be safe out there and wear a mask. Bye, everybody.